Why are you Conservative, Dean?
Simple fact is, if I go to work and I get paid, that's my money.
Do you think you'll win the next election?
I think we've got a chance of doing it. I think there's no greater fiction for Keir Starmer, and I think there's a path to victory. Yeah, I do.
At the end of the day, mate, if you've got an apple field and I've got a pig farm, you want the sauce on the bacon, let's trade. And that's all it is. It's working about the trade, it's working about, how we can work together. And negotiations and capitalism works.
Well, there's already been some massive changes for the better. So,
What are those changes?
well, things like banning mobile phones in schools. I think it's a big step, and it's a difficult thing to balance because Conservatives historically don't go banning things. But yeah, mobile phones in schools, they are a distraction, and it's good that we can all come together and say no, education comes first because they're designed to be a distraction. Yeah, kids are always messing about on them, and they know how to hide them, and they know it's not going to stop it, is it really?
Kimberly, why are you Conservative?
I joined the Conservative Party because they listen to the true values within the UK. I come from a background of poverty. I grew up moving from home to home due to domestic violence, and we didn't have a lot of money growing up, never known for eating. My stepdad was alcoholic, so I joined the Conservatives because they listen to voices like mine. They actually want to make a difference. This is why the policies keep changing, so they change the policies to make sure they represent the true demographic of the UK, and I think that's why, and what's so important about the Conservative Party is they are really hell-bent on listening to every single voice to make sure that we truly are represented. So we all get together, talk together and create policies that actually work for the UK, and I think that's what's so important about the Conservative Party. They are the true representative voice of the UK.
What would it take for you to stop voting for the Conservative Party?
If they ever allowed like a full-blown amnesty for illegal immigrants, or they legalise euthanasia, that would be two red lines. That would be a bit too far for my taste.
Is there anything that would stop you voting for the Conservative Party?
Nothing I can think of.
And our Prime Minister is making a great job for Britain, and I believe in him. He's the only one get us out of COVID, and now he's going to finish the recession very soon.
Excellent.
This is what I believe.
Great. How do you rate the party's chances at the next general election?
Reasonable.
Reasonable. That's quite optimistic, I would say. That's optimistic.
Yes.
How's your conference going so far, Dean?
It's a funny one. I think that this is our last one in power, so everyone's a bit down, a bit despondent.
You're the first person to admit that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's on camera, isn't it? So yeah.
You've got to tell the truth, I guess.
It is what it is. I mean, I can stand here and say, oh yeah, it's fantastic, it's wonderful, and it is, because these are our friends, this is our Tenerife, this is our Benidorm. We come here once a year, the drinks are free, we have parties all night, every day.
I mean, I am actually happy. I think the important thing is they connect with the public and the needs of the public. Not, excuse me saying this to you because you're from the media, but connecting with the concerns of journalists. That's one thing. That's not to say they're illegitimate, but it's not a way to win an election. You need to connect with the concerns of the public. So yes, it's all very well to talk about climate change, and we're terribly worried about climate change, the climate emergency, crisis and all of this. But you do have to take into consideration the cost of living crisis as well. And the extent to which you're going to impose additional costs on people to address climate change. You're pushing up their energy bills, you're making them buy electric cars, installing heat pumps at, £12,000 a pop. If you keep demanding these things of people, you're going to lose them. And I think we're just beginning to see the party connecting again with people. I also think in terms of spending money, I mean, you can't just keep spending government money. You can't keep increasing taxes because you'll create both inflation and destroy productivity. And I think they're coming to terms with that and beginning to understand that.
Is there anything that the Conservative Party could do that would prevent you from ever voting Conservative again?
No, I don't think so, because you're born, I'm actually from the Northwest. My parents would have been Labour voting supporters and members. Some of my family are. But, my circumstances have taken me away from here. And in terms of what I believe, in terms of the way I run my life, they're more attuned to conservative values. And I don't think that will change. I know some people flip-flop, but I'm not a flip-flopper. So I've been Conservative, I'll remain Conservative, because fundamentally I believe in the things that the Conservative Party believe in.
Absolutely, absolutely. What would you say your most right-wing belief is?
Oh God. I'm quite a lefty, actually.
A lefty conservative.
Well, here's the thing. If you're a true conservative, a real conservative, then you believe in the individual choice. So people think, well, you know, if you're homophobic and so on, that's right wing. It's not. If you want to go to bed with whoever you want to go to, that's your choice. If you want to get married to somebody, that's your choice. So the most right-wing thing that I believe in is the freedom of choice, the freedom to support anyone. Even in the trans debate, I mean, I've got a child, he says, Dad, you know, I was born a girl, I think I went, okay, cool, that's fine. And that, to me, is the most right-wing thing ever, because you're saying, it's your choice, it's your freedom. I will defend your freedoms.
Because they are listening to true values of what have happened in the UK. They're understanding the pivotal issues such as poverty, health inequalities. They're very much, like my colleague said, they're very supportive of helping people into work and supporting them with that network of the benefit system. But it is a hand up, not a handout. And I think because of that, because they're there to support people who are like myself, who have come from poverty, I'll always vote Conservative from now on.
We are levelling up in all areas.
Apart from Manchester, there's no HS2 anymore.
Well, we are working towards that. Believe, you know, well, we believe that we have everybody at heart. You have to believe our Prime Minister, he says the truth. He means what he says, and there is evidence. And believe all you have to do is just to look around and see what we have done and what we plan to achieve if we're given the chance to. So,
what do you attribute the dip in the Conservative Party's fortunes to?
I think it's a few things. First of all, I think, frankly, the government is suffering significantly from burnout. So, I mean, this is the way politics works, right? It's a cycle. We now have a Prime Minister that has been in office for less time than we've continuously had a Conservative government, and you are at that late stage of sort of the era of a party being in government. I think it's, to a significant extent, the result of macroeconomic factors far beyond the government's control. Obviously, we've seen a devastating rise in the cost of living, which has hit lots of people very hard, including students and young people, which are the effects of the dual inflationary shocks of sort of the supply chaos that was China last year, and obviously the effects on the energy and food industry from the war in Ukraine. So I think it is a mixture of people are naturally tiring of Conservative rule or Conservative government, and things that are unfortunately but practically beyond the government's control that nevertheless people blame them for.